Okay guys, a quick video. It's Matt here from PilotPracticeExams.com where you can pass in half the time. Now, what I wanted to show you is if you're renting aircraft or you're an aircraft owner, it's very easy in RAOs, not quite as easy in GA, to check whether your aircraft is reasonably up to date. Now, you're not going to be able to check everything unless you read through the whole aircraft manufacturer's the logbook, but what you need, the aircraft logbook. So what you need to do, let me just give you an example to show you how this works. So let's say, for example, you're flying a Foxbat. It's made by Aeroprac, and you can just come in here and select the different manufacturers that you want. Okay, so these are all the RAOs ones. So we've selected Aeroprac. Now, here's a list of the, in this case I'm in there's two areas, the advisory notices and the maintenance bulletins. So you need to check both of those. Now let's say there was a service done on 100 hourly or 500 hourly done on your aircraft, say back in December. What you really want to do is check the service bulletins that have come out and talk to your maintainer. You don't want to drive them nuts, or have a look through the logbook, or have a look in the maintenance releases, and you should see something about these being done or checked or of no relevance. Okay, so let's take this one for example. There's been a temporary limitation on V&E. Now that's quite intriguing, That obviously means there's something wrong with the aircraft that needs checking. So I launched that one, and this is what it looks like. Now it comes up, it's a safety alert, it's a temporary limitation of V&E, it has a lot of other stuff there you can read. The date's important, okay? Here is important, so it affects these models for serial numbers 17 up to and including 30, and serial number 2 and up to and including 5. Okay, it tells you the reason behind it, and then down here, so the instructions are: do not exceed the temporary V&E of 105 miles. Now I wonder how many Foxbat pilots or student pilots are out there that even know this is in place from these affected serial numbers. Now, if you're flying a Foxbat right now, I would be checking whether your aircraft is one of those. I'd be taking a photo of that and checking that and seeing if you've been notified, because this is a pretty important service bulletin. Okay, so again, I'll just remind you, the way you can get these for RAOs, is you come in here and you want to go to Maintenance Bulletins, put in your aircraft model, and then search anything that's recent since the last major services. Okay, so you can also come in here into the maintenance advisory notices, and this is going to have a whole bunch of publications put out by people other than your aircraft manufacturer generally, but some of them are put out in relation to certain models. So for example, this one here, Jabiru, in relation to cylinder head cracking. So it's worth having a read through here as well. Here's a Morgan Sierra, a Sapphire, a Sting. Okay, so just have a flick through those two areas in maintenance, advisory notices, manufacturer's bulletins. Now, if you're flying CASA GA aircraft, then what you really need to do there is head to the manufacturer or the importer's website, and they should have ADs for your relevant models, or they should have links for your manufacturer's bulletins, services bulletins. And then you also need to check out your engine manufacturer as well. So I'm on the Rotax owner website here. Now, theirs is beautiful because you can break it down into these various search categories. You pick your engine type, so in my case it's a 912 ULS. Now the ones you're really interested in are these alert service bulletins, because if you read down here, it tells you the difference between an alert and a service. Okay, now an alert means that it needs to be done before the next flight. So in other words, this is a real critical one. So if we look at those for the 912 ULS, you can see here that, in the last, 13 years, they've only had to issue 1, 2, 3, 4, and about 10, say. Now, the most recent one was these ones involving the carb floats, and we had to stop flight and do that with my engine. But that was back in July 2016. It hasn't been one issued. So this is not something you need to check every flight, but certainly something that you should be checking reasonably regularly, probably monthly or so, because some of you are in flight schools, you're going to have overworked maintenance people. They might be volunteers, they might be away, they could be travelling around Australia. So it doesn't hurt for you to come in here and know how to check this stuff. Okay, so if we go and we just look at the typical service bulletins for, say, a 912 ULS, which is going to be the main engine that a lot of you fly on in RAL's aircraft and the Jabiru, and we look at our service bulletins, what we're going to find is, so if we scroll through to the end here, 2017, as you can see, it's quite an extensive list. Okay, so these ones are, so this one's a change of measurement for cylinder head, spec change for engine configuration on the type plate, extension of time between overhauls. So you can see the nature of these ones isn't quite as critical. Checking of magnetic plug, extension of time between overhauls. Okay, so again, nowhere near as critical. So it's, if you do go, and they do give you the option depending on who your manufacturer is, it's those alert service bulletins that you really want to check. Now you can also do that for your airframe if you want to double check. As I said, the RALs ones have theirs on there, but some of the other manufacturers, for those people flying GAs, for example, if you're flying a Cessna 172, you might want to head to the Cessna website and do that. So that's just a good practice to get into, guys. Keep yourself safe. It's something you probably should do around about on a monthly basis, depending on how often you're flying, and also depending on the type of environment you've got in your flight school. If it's one where there's a lot of full-time maintainers and it's just those aircraft they're maintaining, then, and they're very rigorous, then perhaps you don't need to check as often. But if you're dealing with organisations where you've got a lot of different volunteers, you've got a lot of people taking leave and things like that, then this is definitely a good practice for you to do.